All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise and honor glory to Yahweh, Shem, Shabbat, Shem, Rakakwadash, the abundance of the apostle and elders, great millstone, and Shalom to all the Achaemenid pushing the word of sincerity and in truth. It's the brother Barzal from Great Millstone, Atlanta. Yeah, and I have this lesson. What you see before you is a U.S. doctor got sentenced to 40 years for opioid prescriptions. And this just shows the energy of America, you know. And this isn't the only doctor. You know, a lot of these doctors go unnoticed. And you see the title of the lesson, Esau, the drug kingpin. You know, and the only reason why this doctor, got caught up and charged as such is because he did it under the guidelines. Excuse me, under the nose of the federal government. You know, he pushed drugs and he made full profit from the drugs without paying, his percentage. You know, just like when you see drug lords on the streets, you know, they might give front drug dealers, certain amounts of drugs, whether it's kilos, brothers are familiar with drug measurements, whatever. Um, you watch these different movies and things pertaining to them, they'll give them with large quantities of drugs, and in return they have to give them a partial profit, you know, which is a loan for a specific drug, and then they actually, prescribe the drugs on the streets, give it to actually Jakes on the streets. Jakes will come and clients will come and purchase, and whatever amount, whether it's 10,000, 15,000 profit, or however amount they make, they have to cut the drug lord a certain percentage. And this individual, he basically tried to get off scot-free without paying his overlords, man. And that shows you the mindset of Esau any goddamn way. Because these opioids, that's what the main drugs he was pushing. It's an opioid epidemic, man, and it's killing the masses of people. And Esau hasn't said, all right, no more opioids in the drug field. They're not going to get rid of these highly dangerous drugs. Whether they're hallucinogenic, whether they're painkillers, whether they actually cause death, whether they cause diarrhea or damage, organ failure. Esau's not going to take these things off of the market, man. And like I said, these individuals aren't compliant to the program of Esau, whether they want to break off and tell, or whether they want to actually sell drugs without paying the big man. Esau will get rid of you, just as example for this guy. This guy went to, of course, high school. He went to college, studied, you know, relentlessly to become a doctor. He got his license to practice, and he basically didn't go by the code. He didn't go by the books. But I'm going to read the article. It says, on Wednesday, a U.S. federal judge sentenced a doctor based in Martinsville, VA, to prison for 40 years for prescribing opioids illegally. Right, and these opioids are dangerous. Like I said, they shouldn't even have legal opioids. It's just Esau in the market. He legalizes it for gain. He legalizes it for profit. These drugs aren't to be even taken. The Lord, through the scriptures, it tells you in Sirach, if not mistaken, the 38th chapter, in various scriptures, how the Lord creates, in Genesis, the beginning, the Lord created herbs and medicines out of the earth. You have natural painkillers that come from the earth, and you take those different, plants, and you take those different herbs, and you're supposed to heal yourself naturally. But the so-called white man, what he'll treat the symptoms that you're going through, he'll give you some over-the-counter medicine, and it doesn't make you feel better. A lot of those things cause partial insanity, man. Like I said, it damages your brain, damages your tissue, your stomach lining. It makes you sick. It makes you want to run to the stool, throw up. You have drugs what they call uppers and downers. Some of them make you feel like you have anxiety. Some of them make you feel like you have depression. But I continue on. It says, after prescribing over 500,000 doses, he was given a fine of $86,000. 3 years of supervision after release was also mandated. Dr. Joel Smithers was found guilty in May on 859 counts of illegally distributing opioids. This included prescriptions for Oxycontin and oxymorphine tied to a West Virginia woman's death. Right, so you had a woman that OD'd or overdosed from taking these high dosages of drugs, because, these individuals are given certain prescribed amounts, and when you over exceed, and sometimes when you even take the prescribed amount, you overdose. But like I said, these drugs aren't even designed for your bodies. It doesn't work in tandem to your body. Your body is not designed to take these pink and white pills. All right, your body is designed to eat the vegetation of the earth, eat the herbs, the greenery, and the plants and the minerals and the vitamins that are given to you from the earth. That's what rebuilds and realigns your spirit. So it says, prosecutors said Smithers gave out the prescriptions to patients from 5 different states, some driving to his office from hundreds of miles away from 2015 to 2017. U.S. Attorney Thomas T. Cullen said Smithers perpetuated on a massive scale the vicious cycle of addiction, despair, and destruction. Right, so they're going to paint this guy as the victim. They're going to smut his name, Dr. Joel Smithers, as like I said, the face of shame. When really it's the corporate giants, man. The individuals, Rite Aid, CVS, all these different major companies that push out billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars worth of drugs. They pushing out a hell of drugs annually, and people are dying left and right. But you don't see these major corporations getting charged. But this individual, which of course is a wicked act to sell drugs on a whole, but they're making him seem like he's the goblin, the Green Goblin is his damn self, man. Like one of these super villains. When really this true super villain, and he's a low level Edomite, man. So if he gets 40 years for the atrocities that he put forth, what about you devils? If you, each and every one of you individually took the stand, collectively, really, you would get thousands of years, man. That's why the Lord just summed it up to put you in slavery for 1,000 years and to burn you up, because you deserve that judgment. So it says Judge James Parker Jones, presiding in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of VA in Abingdon, handed down the sentence. Mandatory sentencing called for at least 20 years in prison and up to life in prison. The judge recommended mental health treatments in a prison near his family, according to WSET TV. Smithers, 36 years old, is married and has 5 children. Smithers testified in his own defense, claiming some patients deceived him. He has also filed in court his intent to appeal. Right, so this devil just he basically just went down. Like I said, he got 40 years, which, like I said, this is a low level, and this shows you the energy of the so-called white men. They're quick to put the blame on these low level devils for whether it's a death or somebody of these, and make it seem like, well, we're not the ones that's pushing out these drugs. Is really, we're actually prescribing the right amounts. You have individuals such as him that are actually over exuding or excuse me, over exceeding the amount that's required. When really, like I said, these herbs, if you excuse me, these drugs, that's the equivalent of witchcraft in the scriptures. When you look up pharmacy, it means a spell given potion. All right. So these pharmaceutical companies, they're casting spells. All right. That's why America is known as what? The mistress of witchcraft. All right. They craft. What you're crafting is a working of sorcery upon the minds of the people, and they put these drugs in you. And like I said, it causes high amounts of depression, anxiety, and you have individuals that took these drugs. When you're sick or whether you go through certain problems, the first thing you have to do is go to the pharmacy and see the pharmacist. All right, which a pharmacist is basically a high level witch, and that these doctors, that shows you their intent too. They're not trying to truly heal you. They're trying to keep you hooked on those drugs so that they can make a immense amount of profit. And what it said, he owed over $86,000. He was making good bank, man. And he was already a doctor, so annually he was, possibly pushing, you know, 70, 80, 90,000 plus. Ain't no telling. These doctors make a great amount of money, and on the side he was still making a good amount of money, but that wasn't enough. But like I said, that's the spirit of Esau. Esau makes billions off of the drug trade, whether it's legal or illegal. He controls both markets, and you might see a big boat full of kilos, and get confiscated, by the government, and you think justice has prevailed. They take those drugs and they redistribute them, man. You know. So this is Ezekiel 28:3. It says, "Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thy understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures." Right, and the wisdom and the understanding of the so-called white man is predominantly pushed on what, the left-hand side. He's a master sorcerer, and he has got abundance of riches through what, mainly the international bankings and their plot to put usury and debt upon the masses of the world, you know, and basically a war. War is big business. Drugs is big business. Trafficking, whether it's sex and narcotics dealing, narcotics trafficking, human trafficking, child trafficking. Those are $1 billion rings, man. And that's how the so-called white man became filthy rich. It says, "And has gotten gold and silver into thy treasures." Right. So they confiscated, or even through wars, you had the California, gold rush, all these different rushes. Even in here in Georgia, you have Cumming Dahlonega, which, if I'm not mistaken, they had a Cumming Dahlonega gold rush also, man. You know, and they had the native and Seminole Indians doing all the dirty work to reap and toil the lands to get the gold for the so-called white man to keep. You watched that in the movie 1492, and if you wasn't reaping up the desired amount, then you were liable to get your hand chopped off, your fingers cut off, your leg chopped off, and you would have to work the next day. So it says, "By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches." Right, and like I said, the traffic is not, you know, um, Dove products, Dove soap, being pushed, through the highway. No, it's talking about drugs. All right, it's talking about wicked products being pushed through cargo. You know, and like I said, those are whether it's natural resources, whether it's illegal resources, legal resources, whatever the so-called white man has put in his hand, he has pushed it, man. And like I said, masses of these resources, they belong to the Native and Seminole Indians. But they took the blacks here and they made us work on tobacco. They made us work in Jamaica, various areas to chop sugar cane and constantly work until the earth. Put our hand to the grind so that the so-called white man could become richer and richer. It says, "And thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches," which the heart represents the pride of man. So the so-called white man's pride is lifted up to the heavens because of the abundance of money he has. These so-called Fortune 500 companies, they're multi-billion-dollar industries, man. And a lot of them were created and started through slavery. These, century-old companies, they're really big racist companies, man. But this is Nahum 3:4. It says, "Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts that set of nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts." And that witchcraft, like I said, is the sorcery the so-called white man puts out. And even it's not always what you intake that shows the witchcraft. All right, it's what they publicize on the media, like the article I just read. See, that's even a form of witchcraft. They're trying to put a blame, like they're just a justice system, and they just caught a evil individual, when really the one in the background is that's your leaders, the one that actually is locking the man up. He's working for a higher damn devil that he doesn't even know about, that he's not even familiar with. And it says that sell of nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. And that's what happens. They go overseas and then they push certain drugs in these different communities too, whether it's throughout the Middle East, whether it's through the African lands, and you watch these different war movies, and you see how a lot of people got addicted to drugs back then through shotguns, smoking drugs through shotguns and various other means. So it says, "Behold, I am against thee," saith the Lord of hosts, "and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame." And we're in the time where the so-called white man is being shown for his nakedness and his filth. So this is just a short article, short lesson. I just wanted to expound upon to further elaborate in the spirit, to show the so-called white man. The proof is in the pudding that he's the devil, man. What more evidence do you need? So I'm gonna end it by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Shema, Shabbat, Hashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, Maki.